under 10.5 on the line.
You have to be the biggest, dumbest idiot.
Josh Allen inside the 10, inside the 5, touchdown, the game over.
Going into the draft, I was a big Penix guy. I'm still a big Penix guy. Rashee Rice is way ahead of schedule in his ACL rehab, which is good news for his fantasy managers because the Dallas court system is way behind schedule. That's also good news for local comedian Miles Francis. Oh, hello and welcome to What Are We Talking About with Jamie Jakes. I am him, and today we are here to talk about the lie that the NFL and the NFL Combine has been telling us for our entire lives. I was always under the impression that the NFL Combine, the official times either came from a laser timer or how I do it for pro days instead of going off the reported time. I'll cut the video frame by frame, put a little clock next to it, and as soon as that hand comes off the floor and as soon as the athlete runs across the line, I stop and start the video. That's how I've been doing it for pro days to get through the mishmash and the lies that these college teams will tell you about their prospects coming out of school. But it recently came to my attention that maybe the NFL Combine is not as trustworthy as we originally thought it was. And this is the video they originally tipped me off to it. Okay, so this is Mike Renner, a guy who's been in the industry expert for Pro Football Focus in the past. He's no longer working for them, thank goodness. He's working for himself now, I believe. Now, here's him on an interview that he had recently talking about Matthew Golden.
I honestly like looking at, I don't know if you've seen the videos of like the 429 Truther videos about like when they started the clock. I think he got a favorable time. I don't think he's a 429 guy at all. Like, I think it was a missed time. He didn't even.
Wait, hold on. Can we just do this electronically? They don't do the start and the stop electronically.
No.
They hand time?
Yes, it's a hand start. And he did.
A hand start. I never thought in a million years that that is how they did it. I used to, back in the day, we were doing 40 times in like 6th grade, and they had a thing for us to put our hand on. As soon as our hand came off of the little button, that's when the time started. Apparently, that is not how they do it in the NFL. And when they look at the official times, I assume they went back like I did, go frame by frame and test the athletes that way and back it up with the stopwatch. Apparently, that is not how they do it. They're still doing the hand timers, and they've always done the hand timers, which we'll get into in a second. Now, Matthew Golden, is my number one bust candidate for the first round of the NFL draft this year. We did a whole video on it. You can go check that out. I'll leave it in the description or whatever if you want to see that whole video. But I went in and I actually broke down frame by frame Matthew Golden's 40-yard dash time, and this is what I found. Okay, so this is a frontal view, but it's the best view I found, the easiest one I found on the internet. It's slightly edited, but the other ones that were on the NFL Network actually had a hard cut in between, so it was kind of hard to judge. But look at what we found here with Matthew Golden on his 40-yard dash time. 4.37. So some of you are probably going to say, what's the big deal? 4.37. That's still blazing fast, which of course it is. But I think that 4.29, the difference between the 4.29 and 4.37 is a second or third round guy with the production profile that Matthew Golden has and the lack of efficiency that he had in college in a theoretically good situation with theoretically at least a backup level quarterback guy who was drafted in the draft along with him. Granted, late. Quinn Ewers was drafted, but he had him throwing the football. A lot of other wide receivers had a lot better production with worse quarterbacks throwing them the ball. So with all that to be said, 4.37 is very different from 4.29. And would the Packers have taken a shot on a guy with that sketchy profile in the first round? I don't know. The Packers are known for making horrible decisions in the draft anyway, so you can't read into it too much. But this really rewrites history in what we talk about in the NFL Combine. So I went back and I went through some of the fastest 40-yard dash times in NFL history, official 40-round draft times. And what I found is probably going to disturb you. So every Xavier Worthy hater was like, look at the list of these fastest wide receivers in NFL Combine history, and they all failed. So the first thing I went to was John Ross, who allegedly ran a 4.2. And what I'm about to show you is going to blow your mind. Here you go. I'm going to let it play. Now, this does have a cut in it, which a lot of the NFL Combine videos do have. This is the best video I could find. If you can find a video, please leave it in the comment section. Leave the link in the comment section. Maybe I'll do another follow-up video after this one. But look at what John Ross ran at the NFL Combine according to my measurement of it. 4.44 is what I found from John Ross. It was reported that he ran a 4.25 or whatever. They were off by 0.2 of a second, which is insane amount of time when we're talking about nitpicking these college athletes. And this is definitely what got John elevated in the draft process and drafted so early, because he also had some sketchy college production, not as bad as Matthew Golden, but in the same realm of it. And in that video, the actual broadcast stopwatch cuts out. It malfunctions. So I think they just were like, screw it. We're going to give our best guess. Looked like a 4.25. That's what he said he was going to run. So we're going to give it to him. But in real life, he ran a 4.44. Disgusting. So I went back, of course, and I looked at Xavier Worthy. What did he run? Was he as disappointing as the rest? And here's what I found on Xavier Worthy. Starting the time. See the clock slightly off between the two. 4.22 was his official time. What I had him at is 4.25. And conspiracy, what I'm thinking here is the NFL knew the whole time that the John Ross 40-yard dash was entirely false. They knew they screwed up. Someone did along the way, and instead of admitting it in hindsight, they just buried that information. But they wanted to give the truly fastest athlete the record, so you could see in his first time, what did he run? A 4.25, right? In the second one he ran an official 4.21, and I had him at 4.25. So, in conclusion, the NFL Combine official 40-yard times are in no way official, and really we should be very careful in how we discuss college athletes. I still do it since I've discovered this. I've been sitting on this information for a little while now, but we should be really careful and maybe do our own research on the 40-yard times if we are going to cite them as reasons why we like certain college prospects. Or probably what we really should be doing is entirely throwing it out and go based off how fast they look on film. It's really not that hard. And every single analyst, I've not heard a single analyst come out and say, oh, I wasn't at all surprised about the Matthew Golden time. I knew he was going to run in the 4.2s because that's what he looked like on film. Every single analyst was like, that guy is not a 4.2 guy. He's fast, but in no way is he a 4.2 40 guy. And that finding in the combine was rather surprising to them, as it was to me. I did not see that coming. I was really surprised when I first saw it. And I'm happy that we kind of got to the bottom of this, because I would have lived the rest of my life just believing the official, the 40-yard dash times as gospel. I never would have questioned them like I always have questioned the college pro day times that they post. I did go back and I looked at CJ2K all day, Chris Johnson, and his 40-yard time was off by a few tenths, but it was pretty close. It was a legit fast 40-yard dash. And finally, I'm still a little bit bitter, especially with the comments I got last year for me standing for Xavier Worthy about, oh, he's just a track star. You can't count on him because look at all these other track stars who ended up not panning out in the NFL. I was like, well, yeah, because they actually, turns out they really weren't that fast in the first place. So whenever someone brings up John Ross, make sure you show them this video. If you disagree with my method, I would love to find out a better way to break this down from where I'm sitting. Obviously I can't be at the NFL Combine, but for where I'm sitting, it's pretty simple. Just break it down frame by frame. Granted, there are some limitations along the way. Either way, I have to believe I'm at least within a few hundredths of a second in terms of accuracy. Of course, you can say like frame rate, you're gonna miss certain things if you have a 60 frames per second or what. Anyways, whatever. I don't care. I am convinced that is a lie, and I'm convinced my method is much more accurate than the official method that the NFL uses, and I'm going to change the way I look at athletes going forward because of it. Thank you for watching. My name's Jamie Jakes. Please subscribe to the channel if you want me to check in on other 40-yard times, maybe in this draft class. I almost threw in Bashul Tutin as one of my guys to look into his 40-yard dash. He had apparently a very fast one. I didn't really look into it because I wasn't as interested in him as a prospect, and he's been getting a lot of hype. He's currently going #1 running back off the board in best ball tournaments right now, which I think is a massive mistake after the news we're hearing about him. So if you want to see that video, let me know in the comments section. Share this with your friend who is so foolish to believe in the official NFL Combine 40-yard dash times. And be careful out there because we're constantly being lied to.